السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear friends, thank you for holding space for me and for yourselves, for all of us who will be benefiting from these insights and these inspirations. In the reality, all what we are doing is simply holding space for channeling channeling some inspirations that are not really coming from lots of academic research, or that's not our way. Our way is simply to open up and receive. And so thank you for holding space for these inspirations and these insights to keep coming forth. And we reached the name Al-Muhaymin, and you'll see it is a name uh, that I translate as uh, the space holder. Um, we'll see, we'll come to it slowly, slowly. Al Muhaymin, first of all, the place of the name, we are still studying the same verse, the verse of Al Asma al Husna. It is actually called the verse of the divine names, which is the verse 59:23, the end of Surah Al-Hashr. And هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن. Comes Al-Muhaymin after Al-Mu'min. Uh, Everything is okay? You see me well? You hear me well? I haven't asked that. So
Yes, we hear you well, see you
thank
well.
you. No echo because I hear it's good. The
Yeah.
voice. Thank you. So this sequence, we said we see it deliberate, especially coming from the higher level of transmission, which is al-wahi, the higher level of transmission, coming to the highest level of human consciousness and the finest human intelligence. That's who, after all, the prophet is. So, really, the Quran is the best uh, uh, text to study in that way. That really you go into it with nothing is there by accident, and you will never be disappointed. Really, that is one of my that is my postulate. My postulate. The only thing that I started with without having proof for it, and I keep how to say I keep proving every time, and it is a postulate that has never proved itself wrong. So there is nothing there by accident, and the order of the names here is not by accident. Uh, As-salam, we saw it is the integrity, the and of the inner war within oneself and one and collective as well. But everything could be studied like the scope of the individual, but the collective as well. But salam is the answer. Al-Mu'min, now it is a higher level. There is an engagement to build a safe space of trust based on trust. So Al-Mu'min is the restoration of trust and existential safety. And there comes after that Al-Muhaymin. What's the call? So once we reach As-Salam and Al-Mu'min, what's the call? What is the call then? And we said last time that every name will be calling for the next as an ontological necessity, as an ontological necessity. That is, we saw that how as-salam, we saw that how al-Qudus called for as-salam. We saw that how as-salam called for al-Mu'min. I'm asking you now to ponder how al-Mu'min is calling for al-Muhaymin. Now, I mean, if you are going to understand al-Muhaymin as the dominant, the one above everything, it won't stick together. But if we go deeper and understand Al-Muhaymin and we'll use all the tools, the logic, the language, then we'll see that Al-Muhaymin is actually the emergence of conscious vigilance, the emergence of conscious vigilance. What? Look, we have the integrity, safety. The safety needs to bathe in something that will hold space for that safety and integrity. What's that? Trust. Okay. Now, we have trust, al-Iman, mutual trust. Now, that engagement and that mutual trust needs to bathe in, you understand? Needs to be contained, needs to be held with what? Consciousness. Universal consciousness. Awareness, vigilance, holding space for that mutual trust to keep going so it doesn't break. So that's the ontological necessity that comes, and we'll prove that Al-Muhaymin is exactly that. So we are no longer merely safe, we are held within an attentive presence. The name Al-Muhaymin conveys in the dictionary attentive guardianship, vigilant care, protective oversight, witnessing without intrusion, preservation of integrity. It signifies a presence that does not sleep, yet does not suffocate. It's not surveillance. It is conscious, benevolent vigilance. That is the unity, that is the force of Al-Muhaymin. Conscious, benevolent vigilance and guardianship. So it is a protection and not control. Protection is not control. This distinction is essential. Al-Muhaymin is not spying, policing, coercion, obsessive supervision. Al-Muhaymin is protecting without dominating, watching without constraining, guarding freedom, not suppressing it. Like an adult watching a child learn to walk, not carrying them, not preventing every fall, but present, ready, attentive, again, holding space for them. There is a deep link between Al-Mu'min and Al-Muhaymin already in the language. Al-Mu'min and Al-Muhaymin, both of them comes from the root man. 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 The root, the dual root. Now, after that, we added the alif, the hamza, so to have amina. And from there came amana, and that's the iman. And we have many other verbs. We have tamina, that's the reassurance, etc. And we have hamina, haman, hamana, 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 hamana. We'll do the exercise in a bit, but from now, just let us dive into it now. The musicality, what do you hear when we say, hum, hum, hum? Just the sound, that's now, forget about the meaning. Just go to the intonation, the musicality of the word. Keep saying the three letters. Try to say the three letters with sukoon, with no movement, like in the neutral. Put the three letters on the neutral. What do you get? What do you get? What do you hear? Hummingbird. Humming. Humming. That's what you hear. You just hear humming. We'll see that there is a deep connection between humming and Al-Muhaymin. So now, if you go to the meaning, Al-Mu'min says you may trust reality is safe enough. Okay, here. Al-Muhaymin adds, you are not abandoned within that trust. We are holding space for that trust to continue. Trust alone could become naive. Vigilance alone would become oppressive. So Al-Mu'min calls for Al-Muhaymin, and Al-Muhaymin needs Al-Mu'min before it. Because if you don't have Iman before Haymana, we'll have Haman. You know who is Haman? Haman is the prime minister, or how to say, the chef d'état-major, the leader of the army of Pharaoh. His name is Haman. The Quran is calling it Haman. He's giving us his name, really. Haman. And that's the meaning that stayed in I would say, in the imagination, the projection of people, because whenever they translate Al-Muhaymin, they have the image of Haman and Haymana of Haman, and they translate it as dominant. We'll see that dominant is not a good translation, but do is. We'll see why. What is the do that I'm talking about? Okay. Together, Al-Mu'min and Al-Muhaymin, they create a freedom that is held, not left alone. Now, Al-Muhaymin, as a force, it is a force of conscious protection, or a force of conscious presence. A parent with his child or her child, they need to be Muhaymin as a conscious presence. Not dominant, not oppressive, no. Now, as a unity, Al-Muhaymin is a unity of consciousness, a unity of vigilance, a unity of awareness. It is that unity of consciousness that we can rely upon, that we know it is there. We can rely upon that. Without it, any engagement of trusting one another, we cannot trust that it will continue, because Al-Muhaymin is holding space for that possibility of that trust to happen and continue. So Al-Muhaymin is the force that preserves coherence, prevents inner and outer derailment, protects the process without replacing it. It protects the process of growth, does not replace it with be like this, become like this, do this. It protects the process of tarbiyah without replacing it. Accompanies growth without commandeering it. It is supervisory supervisory or supervisory intelligence, not domination. Now, at this stage, the human being, now at the stage of consciousness, when we reach the level of consciousness of Al-Muhaymin, at this stage, the human being is no longer at war with themselves because they are Muslim. They reached As-Salam. They are not frozen by fear because they are mu'min. Okay, they realized Al-Iman, and they are not dependent on infantile protection because they reached the level of consciousness of Al-Muhaymin. They trust a space holder without depending on infantile protection. They become responsible under awareness. So the humanity, when reached after Al-Iman, the humanity is called to reach this stage. And I told you last time that it is our time today. I told you that one of the dearest name to me is Al-Muhaymin. And politically speaking, it is the name of today. But people are understanding it as tyranny. No, it's not. That's not Al-Haymana. It's not tyranny. Hash Allah. How could Allah be the tyrant, the dominant? No, it can't be associated to something like that. It is this level of consciousness which is responsibility under awareness. Citizenship. Not as a political meaning, but as an ethical concept. So the humans become, they know that their actions matter, their choices carry weight, their freedom is real. And also, reality is not indifferent. It is holding them. Existence is not abandoned. There is a Hayman, there is a that is holding space for them. And consciousness is accompanied. There is a Rabb Muhaymin that is holding space for the tarbiyah. Now, let us dive into the inner dimension of Al-Muhaymin. Internally, Al-Muhaymin corresponds to conscious presence, lucid attention, the benevolent inner witness, self-observation without condemnation. Now, when you talk about the internal dimension in easier way, you are the Muhaymin of yourself, holding space for yourself. How? Through conscious presence, lucid attention to your actions and thoughts, etc. Benevolent inner witness, you are shahid ala nafsik, but with benevolence, and self-observation without condemnation. It is the end of inner chaos without falling into self-surveillance or guilt. It is the end of that's individually. Now collectively, it is the end of chaos without falling into dictatorship. It is awareness without cruelty. Now, Al-Muhaymin and Al-Amana. So the sequence completes itself here. Al-Mu'min, the trust is granted. Al-Muhaymin, the trust is held within awareness. Life is neither abandoned nor micromanaged. It is accompanied. Now, religious distortion. The religious distortions of vigilance, many have turned Al-Muhaymin into a spying God, a punitive observer, a divine policeman. This is projection, and it only served to justify rulers who behave like that and a way of ruling that is like that. Divine vigilance is not obsession with thought. It is protection of meaning and direction. Spiritually, now, to make the difference with religiously, spiritually, this name marks actually a threshold. in the spiritual journey. You reach a point where there is no more hiding, no more innocence games, no more spiritual evasion, but also no terror, no suffocation, no infantilization. One acts, chooses, and walks under a conscious, elevating gaze. Aha. Conscious, elevating gaze. Now, let us, we reach at this point now, like when we invoke, when we remember this name Al-Muhaymin, the prayer or the invocation that comes to my mind and heart is the following. May my awareness remain awake without harshness. And may I be protected without being infantilized. May I walk freely, yet lucidly. Okay. Understood that Al-Muhaymin is vigilance that protects without controlling, presence that accompanies without replacing, awareness that watches without judging, the guarantee that the process is not abandoned. After peace, as-salam, after trust, al-mu'min, comes responsibility under conscious presence, al-muhaymin. A powerful contemporary expression helps illuminate Al-Muhaymin more than any other word. Really. This modern or postmodern notion of holding space, really. Like every time I try to find another more beautiful name, more beautiful translation, cannot find better than holding space for Al-Muhaymin. Water is actually Muhaymin. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Water in the body is actually Muhaymin. And we'll see when we reach the name Al-Hayy that we'll find a very deep connection between Al-Hayy and Al-Muhaymin. They work together because Al-Hayat, life, is Muhaymin, is holding space. Water is holding space for the possibility of any life to take, actually to start, to be carried on, to, subhanAllah. Holding space for me to talk. Thank you, water. Alhamdulillah. Shukr. Water is muhaymin, really. And you see, it is how 90% of our body or 70%, something like that. It is the majority and it is water. But it's not just that. It's not just that. You cannot, it's not like, it is 100% of our body is water. The reality is not 80 or 90%. I hate that. We are bathing in the water. We are still in the womb. Water is holding space for our existence internally and externally. It is muhaymin in that way. You see? That's haymana. In Arabic, to say it is a form of haymana. When you see it in the dictionary, you say so and so haymana, it means he said But also, when people say Ameen, we say yuhayminun as well. We'll see that in a bit. So let's go back to the notion of holding space. To hold space does not mean to intervene, correct, dominate, or direct. It means to remain present without intrusion, to sustain awareness without pressure, to allow unfolding without abandonment, to be attentive without hijacking the process. That's how the Shaykh should be and become. And that's the role. Otherwise, there is no need for that function. This is precisely the function of the Shaykh, or Al-Muhaymin. Al-Muhaymin is the divine holding space of existence. The divine holding space of existence. The field of awareness within which life can emerge, err, adjust, and mature without being crushed or deserted. I love the sentence I repeated. Al-Muhaymin is the divine holding space of existence, the field of awareness within which life can emerge, but also can err, adjust, and mature without being crushed or deserted. In this sense, Al-Mu'min establishes assurance and safety. Al-Muhaymin maintains the space in which safety becomes growth. It is deep awareness rather than intervention. It is a universal consciousness rather than domination. It is vigilance without overwhelm. It is essential to emphasize again, with even greater clarity, the distinction between divine vigilance and overwhelming control. It is important because the projections that we make on God become our akhlaq, become our ideals, unconsciously. Even if we keep saying the opposite, as long as we project things on God, we have no other way of growing. We will be growing in that projection that we make of God. Tell me, how do you think your God is? I will tell you, who are you becoming? So, Al-Muhaymin is not total surveillance, is not suffocating oversight, is not domination disguised as care, is not a pressure that freezes initiative, because overwhelming control produces anxiety, paralysis, infantilization, loss of creativity. Some people, like myself, they have this name written on them. They need to be really careful to be carriers of the light of the name, and they need to be very diligent and manage the shadow of the name, because this is the shadow of the name. People in your environment, without you wanting it, but they become anxious, paralyzed, and they feel infantilized, and mhm, they they fall into a loss of creativity. I see many people, that's what happened to us. Maybe I'm responsible somehow, but you are more responsible than me if that happened to you. So let's keep going. Al-Muhaymin is a field of attentive presence, a stable horizon of awareness, a non-invasive guardianship, a protection that preserves freedom. Because control collapses the subject, vigilance supports the subject's emergence. See the difference? This is why Al-Muhaymin is the name of maturity, not submission. Now, I told you that Al-Muhaymin is not the dominant, but it is the do. It is the musical note do. Do you know the musical note do? Can you play it? Do you have a musician by any chance who has an instrument who can play the do for us? Ashraf, are you still here? Can you give me a do? Or you don't know the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, you know the 1, 2, 3 thing. I don't know the 1, 2, 3. So I don't know do is number what. Do you have anyone who has any knowledge of music who can open their mic and play a do for us? Or at least tell us is the do? I think I got disconnected and I'm by myself now.
No, we are here, but Ashraf
Oh
got
my God.
disconnected. We hear
Ashraf
you.
is not here?
Yeah, Ashraf
You hear
is.
me?
Yeah.
Ashraf is not here?
No, he's not there anymore.
Okay, okay, no problem. But we don't have any musician who has an instrument? No? Can anyone tell me the number of the do corresponding to the do? As a music note. Hello.
Yeah, someone in the chat said it is a C.
Okay, but there are numbers. It is a C, but there are numbers. Yeah. It is actually the number 1. The do is the number 1. Huh? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. It is the 1 and 8 together. Dominos. And if you play the do, it is always do. It is like that. Do is the tonic, the ground note, the point of reference, the tonal center around which all other notes organize themselves in music. Do does not dominate the scale, it holds it together. Likewise, Al-Muhaymin functions as the tonal center of consciousness, the reference point of awareness, the stabilizing presence that allows movement without disintegration. All other notes of existence can rise, fall, modulate, but do remains, not forcing, not competing, simply present. Do. Al-Muhaymin is the do of being. Of course, if we are intelligent enough to understand that being is music. I told you that in Arabic, when people they say after a prayer, we can say يؤمنون على الدعاء, but also the verb is يهيمنون. We say those people are يهيمنون when they say Ameen. What is Ameen? What is Amen? Huh? So be it. But what it is, so be it. So be it. It is holding space for things to happen, actually. You see? Ameen expresses trust in what has been uttered, consent to what has been invoked, confidence that the prayer is held beyond the speaker. One says Ameen, one is effectively saying, I release this into a greater vigilance than my own. It is joining the divine presence that is holding space for things to happen. So, Amin is not, or Aman is not control, it is entrustment. We entrust this. So, it is the verbal gesture of placing one's intention into the holding awareness of Al-Muhaymin. Hmm. Hmm. Humming, 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 humming. Keep humming. Now, there is something, another sound that should be called to your mind. Well, we don't have much time, but otherwise I will tell you, please tell me what it is. What is the sound that comes to your mind now? Especially after this last explanation of the meaning of Ameen.
Um,
Exactly. Beyond Islamic liturgy, there is a striking resonance with the primordial sound Om. Again, it's not primary, it is primordial because it is there to hold space for all the sounds to be to actually to happen. So Om is traditionally understood as the vibration of universal consciousness, the sound that sustains manifestation, the background hum of existence itself. The background hum of existence itself. So beautiful. That's what Al-Muhaymin is. Is not a command, it is a cosmic holding resonance. Similarly, Al-Mu'min secures existence, Al-Muhaymin sustains it in awareness. If is the vibrational field of being, Al-Muhaymin is its conscious vigilance. It is also the vibration field of being. Different languages, different traditions, the same intuition. Existence unfolds within a watchful, not coercive presence. Existence unfolds within a watchful, non coercive presence. Om. With the now you see As-Salam, the end of inner war, Al-Mu'min, existential safety and trust, Al-Muhaymin, holding space, vigilant awareness, tonal center, Do, entrusted resonance, Amin, universal consciousness. Oh. What we are bringing here is not a theology of domination, it is a cosmology of conscious accompaniment. One could now say Al-Muhaymin is the presence that does not interfere. Aywa. Have you watched it, Avatar? It is Aywa. Al-Muhaymin is the presence that does not interfere, but it is always there. Yet, without which nothing could mature. Al-Muhaymin is the presence that does not interfere, yet without which nothing could mature. Aywa. It is the art of staying, the intelligence of not overwhelming, the awareness that allows freedom to remain coherent. And this, perhaps, is one of the highest expressions of divine maturity mirrored in the human being. Thank you very much, my dear friends. Now let us invoke Al-Muhaymin together. I mean, we can do it as Ya Muhayminu. I'm not satisfied, but you can do it. We can do it as or to break all the idols, let us do it as following. We can do it with breathing in first, and then we'll do it with breathing out. Let us do it with breathing in. Om. 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 Breathing out. Om. 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 Just do it in your brain now, with your breath and brain without any sound. Breathing in. Breathing out. Um, Thank you, and see you next week, inshallah. We are very late for the French session, so and let Al-Muhaymin do its work. So no questions. Just I particularly liked this session myself and enjoyed it. So give yourself time to listen to it again and again. Enjoy it really deeply and let it hold space for you. Thank you and see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.